I'm sure by now everyone's familiar with this face. This is one of the leaders of Hamas who've been killed in Iran a few days ago. Well, I made a video about him the day after he was killed, but recently I actually came across some information that I wanted to share with everyone. I actually couldn't believe at first what I heard, so I went online and did some research. And what do you know? It's even better than I thought. So here's some information from Wikipedia. I'm not gonna bore everyone with all this information. I mean, everyone can just read all of it yourselves. But if we scroll down a little bit, let's see. Yeah, personal life. This is where it gets very, very interesting. So, Haniyeh, or whatever his name is, was married and had 13 children, 3 of whom were killed in 2004. Okay, fine. In 2009, the family lived in Al-Shadi refugee camp in southern Gaza. In 2010, I purchased a 2,500 square meter. Oh, so it's not square feet. Haha! Funny. Square meter parcel of land in Rimal City, Gaza City beachfront neighborhood. And I registered the land in the name of his son-in-law. Subsequently, and I reportedly purchased additional homes and registered them under the names of his children, according to 2014 Ynet article. Well, of course, because the guy is worth like $4 billion, literally. Like if you Google his worth $4 billion, can you imagine all the money he made by being a terrorist? While his people are basically suffering. Well, they're not even suffering. That's what they're claiming they're. But that's completely another story. So this is okay. So let's go down a little bit more. According to 2015 article, Henry was worth was a millionaire. Well, actually, this is old because he's actually worth around $4 billion today. Well, was worth. Stemming from the 20% tax charge on all items entering through tunnels from Egypt to Gaza Strip. And here's your answer why they're building all those tunnels. It's basically investment. It's actually like, if you think about it, it's an investment for them. They literally spend money to build tunnels to make even more money. And where's the money coming from to build tunnels? It's all donations from other countries. Like, it's insane. My eldest son was arrested by Egyptian authorities at the Rafah border crossing with several $1 million, which he intended to take into Gaza. Okay, this is where it gets interesting, okay? My sisters, Khalida, Laila, and Sabah, are Israeli citizens and live in a Bedouin town, Tel Asabi, in southern Israel. Khalida moved to Tel Asabi first, and then her 2 sisters followed. Khalida's husband said, "Our life is normal here, and we want it to continue." He's talking about living in Israel, by the way. If some of you confused, he's literally talking about that how their life is normal in Israel. So much for apartheid. Some of the children of their 3 sisters have served in the Israeli Defense Forces. Now, this is, honestly, it's a shock. And the reason is because even if you Israeli citizen, only Jews are required by law to serve in the army. Basically, mandatory service, 3 years. 3 years for males, I believe it 2 years for females. Muslims not required, even though they have all the benefits of having Israeli citizenship. By law, they're not required to serve in the army, which I think complete BS, because really what happens is You have two 18-year-olds. One is Jewish, one is Muslim. Jewish 18-year-old has to go and serve in the army now for 3 years, while the Muslim one can go to university. And so basically he gets 3 years head start in life. But anyway, but Muslims are allowed to serve in the army, but they serve only if they volunteer. So what this means is that his nephews and nieces, I don't know, it doesn't say who it is, I assume it's nephews, that they actually volunteered to serve in the Israeli army. Can you imagine that? They actually volunteered to serve in the Israeli army and to defend Israel. And don't forget, this is not the kind of army that in the West, in Canada or US or somewhere in Europe, where most of the time they're never going to see any action. This is army that after it's 6 months basic service training, you basically go to the front line. Because lots of 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds actually dying in the army right now and before. So they literally felt obligated to serve their country. What does that tell you about Israel as a country? Like, honestly. And you can read more on here. In early 2012, Israeli authorities granted a request to travel by Haniyeh's sister Sahila Adel Qassam Ahmed Haniyeh and her critically ill husband for emergency heart treatment that could not be treated by hospitals in Gaza. So the guy literally sends rocket at Israel, and what does Israel does? They treat his family. His family could have went to Egypt, for example, because everyone keeps forgetting that Gaza surrounded not just by Israel, but also borders Egypt. But they didn't want to go to Egypt. They wanted to go to Israel. All while screaming, well, I can't even say it on YouTube because I'm pretty sure they're going to censor me. But I'm sure you know what they scream. After successful treatment at the Rabin Medical Center of Tikva, Israel, the couple returned to Gaza. My granddaughter was treated in an Israeli hospital in November 2013, and his mother-in-law was treated in an Israeli hospital in June 2014. In October 2014, a few months after the 2014 Israeli-Gaza war, Haniyeh's daughter spent a week in the Israeli hospital in Tel Aviv for emergency treatment after she suffered complications from a routine procedure. Really? Again, they literally send missiles at Israel, and then a week later, or a couple months later, they go to Israel for a treatment. Like, honestly, you cannot make this up. In September 2016, Haniyeh left Gaza with his wife and two of his sons for the annual pilgrimage to Mecca. Like, seriously. This right here, I think, shows you the problem and shows you really what's happening in the area. His nephews literally chose to volunteer to serve and protect Israel. This right there blows the whole narrative of Israel being apartheid state, like, just insane. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks.